president has promised to sign it. Back to you.
Okay. Thank you very
Rich.
much. That kind of nasty July jobs report comes just 3 months before the key midterm elections.
And with jobs as the big issue this November, will these continuing employment woes affect what Congress does before then?
A fair and balanced debate now between former Congressman Vito Fossella and Democratic strategist Christopher Hahn, both on set. Gentlemen, we appreciate you being here. Let's talk right now, Vito. What is your perspective on this issue?
I think it's bad for the incumbent party. You have 9.5% unemployment. If you recall, the promise was made about a year and a half ago that unemployment would dip below 8%. More than 14 million Americans out of work looking for a job. Underemployment rates of about 16.5%. There does not seem to be any glimmer of hope or any silver lining to this. And as a result, when people get focused, I think come November, Election Day, they're going to hold the party responsible, the party in charge responsible. And frankly, I don't think there's enough expectation that jobs will come back the way they should. These latest numbers, for example, don't reflect that there's about 200,000 temporary census workers that pretty soon will leave the work rolls as well. And what they don't see is a bold, decisive plan to promote investment, to help businesses grow, help them prosper, and put more people to work.
Let me let the Democrat in here because, you know, on the other hand, Chris, the economy wants to take off. It has been repressed for so long, for about 2 years now, that there is a lot of momentum. It's like a dam, and that water behind the dam is building up. It's not going to take much to open the dam.
And I think that we're starting to see signs of that. We are light years ahead of where we were 2 years ago when the economy was bleeding.
I wouldn't say light years.
Well, we've made a sharp
turn.
We were bleeding 700,000 jobs a month 2 years ago. Now, the private sector has created 71,000 jobs. Most of the jobs that were lost this past month were census jobs and jobs of teachers and firefighters and nurses, which part of the stimulus package that they just alluded to will go to stem those losses going forward. The $26 billion that the Senate voted on, the House will vote on next week, will stop future layoffs from teachers and will help states deal with this problem here and keep teachers, firefighters, nurses, and police officers employed.
What's the best idea then, Vito, for creating jobs if you say that the Democrats haven't come up with it?
Well, I think there's going to be a debate on the sort of philosophy of what the government is supposed to do. There seems to be, out of Washington, a reflexive response that let's just spend more money and throw money at the problem and almost be hostile to business, which is the job creation engine in this country. And I think what we need to figure out a way is to incentivize private economic growth, help being partnership with the private sector.
I miss the days from when there were guys like you in Congress, Vito, who actually reached across the aisle and tried to work on things. What's going on in Washington right now is the Republican Party is a roadblock to every sense of progress that the Democratic majority is trying to make. They don't want to sit down at the table.
You would have had FINREG without Scott Brown.
Well, yeah, you know, we had one or two picking them off here and there, but there's really been no cohesive effort for people to work together and really solve the problems. We are in the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression, and we deserve better from our members of Congress than the constant partisan bickering that's been going on and the constant party of no-ship that the Republican Party has become.
Well, in fairness, and thank you for that compliment, Chris. But in fairness, there just seems...
Compliment.
No, I was complimenting him. He's not there right now. He's not the problem right now.
There seems to be, I think, I don't want to call it arrogance, but for lack of a better word, that Washington knows best. And I just think that the biggest way we can get ourselves out of this economic mess is to really put our faith in the American people and work, Democrats and Republicans combined, to figure out ways to help businesses grow on their own.
I can't argue with that.
Remove unnecessary regulation, remove the tax burden, and win. And we can win if we do it right, not by saying we wave a wand, send money out to the states and localities and everything's
Well, New York State's got a $9 billion problem right now. This money that's coming from the feds is going to solve $1 billion of it. There's still $8 billion worth of pain in the New York State budget this year, and there's going to be $20 billion of pain in it next year. We've got some real major problems at the state and local level. 45,000 jobs were lost in the counties and cities around the country last month. 45,000 jobs.
So you're a Chris Christie supporter then?
Well, you know, I don't want to get into the Chris Christie debate. If you want to talk about some stuff here in New York, we can. But there's a lot of pain, and there's going to be a lot more pain in the state and local level, and we've got to come up with real, reasonable solutions.
Let me bring up this. And David and I were interviewing Tig Gilliam of Adecco, which is a job placement firm, and he said that the numbers today did not square with what he's seeing on the front lines, and that is he's actually seeing more hiring, and that maybe at some point the government numbers catch up, or we may see some revisions, which Tom Sawanek also said, watch, this number will be revised to look better than it is. At what point, though, do we see that proverbial straw that breaks the camel's back, where companies do have enough demand, they don't have enough inventory, and they finally have to hire?
I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball into that. I think people, as I said before, the market wants to respond. People want to go to work. It's just not there in the way it should be. You need to create, the private sector needs to create 200,000 jobs a month just to begin to reduce the rate. And we're far from that. The people I know in the private sector want to grow. They don't want to lay people off. And the people I know who are looking for work are desperate to find a job.
We gave you the first word. Take
there's a lot of hesitancy out there in companies to hire right now, and I think there's going to be, towards the end of the year, towards the holiday season, you're going to see some of that dissipate, and you're going to start to see this economy.
It's a long time. That's after the election.
I know it's some time, but I think 71,000 private sector jobs this month is a good start. It's better than where we were 2 years ago.
Christopher Hahn, Vito Fossella, great to see you both guys. Thank you very much.
Let's go back to